Guys, welcome back. Truth and transparency. It's a snow day over here. It's been a snow day. All right. Again, good morning, Idaho4. These are some crime scene photos, part 4 that I'm doing. This starts around page 1352 out of the 2790. Scott, talked to him again last night. Which is good news. He's going to be looking over, because I want him to look over the stuff before I just not bringing him on and be like, hey, so you didn't read anything, you didn't look at anything. What can you tell us? That's just not realistic. So rather than having you guys all flip a complete dick, it's like, here, check this. He just got back from the Dominican Republic, so must be nice. But we got up to a level 3 in Columbus. We never get this. We have so much snow. I don't even know. I think it was like up to it was over a foot like way earlier yesterday. And now it's got to be close to I would say they were calling for 30 inches of snow. So when I keep peeking out over here my window, I'm checking to see all the cars that are getting stuck. So, all right. So yes, I got everything over to Scott and then want to talk to him, want to point out just certain pics. I mean, to sit here and just scroll through, I'd rather just have the certain pictures already picked out because there's some duplicates and whatnot. Okay. So picking up kind of where we left off, this is 1388. And I really wanted to talk about, first of all, this numbering situation that we have here. All right. So when Moscow Police Department responds, they take their photos. Obviously, no markers are down or anything like that. And they take them from some cell phone. ISP had no idea that they did that. Okay. I don't know if and when that ever got relayed to them, but we saw through the body worn camera when Gilbertson's like saying, like, what are you guys doing? Like, you guys aren't like doing anything in there, right? No, we're just trampling the scene. Perfect. So Idaho State Police, when they're taking the photos, they're putting up the place card marker that's in black and white up next to wherever they are, photographing. For example, here, I think I can go like picture 200. I wanted to show you something. Okay. When all of this was done with the amino black, this was on the 17th is when they did the handrails. I went back and looked at the notes of the CSI folks. And I'm just trying to find one where we can go to. So these are all totally not in order because clearly this is when the wall is cut out, and it's not picture 191. All right. So these are in, not chronological order when they were taken. But I just want to show you what I'm talking about as far as okay. Right there, that would be taken like day 1, 11/13. With the black, and then there's their place cards like that. Okay. So like that's the day of. So anytime you see a picture like that, with the black and white, that's day 1. Then they came back in and they started placing yellow like tabs down with like the numbers and the letters, and that would be on a return trip. And all of this ended up causing the expert for the state a lot of confusion, because not only did that happen, but which then when they retested some spots, it was when she's looking at something and looking at a picture, she's like, I looked at this picture and it was diluted. Okay. Well, yeah, because it was that was tested with water. So she had to retract things. But the biggest problem is that Officer Payne, detective, if you must, he, I have no idea why, started his own. I mean, I would think that he would have to be told to do this because it doesn't make any sense. This is not his wheelhouse. Why is he just relabeling numbers and like what's going on here? And then nobody said, hey, Payne, like those aren't the right numbers, like change those. They just let it all stand. Like nobody caught that. I mean, if he's going around, he's just like the writer or something like that. Like here, I just would love to ask, how did this happen? How are you numbering wrong? I mean, it's just right in front of you. And then they're talking about that he was pre-logging. Excuse me? Pre-logging? What do you... This is Tina with What the Fuck Translation Services. What the fuck are you talking about? Explain this to me. Pre-logging. I mean, why are you doing any of this? He's not... This isn't... What is he doing? Why would he have anything to do with this? Anyways. And I believe what he was going to testify to when asked about this is he was putting stuff into the Moscow Police Department. Like everything was... Some of the stuff when they were done swabbing stayed in the house and like stayed overnight, and then would come back like the next day, and then stuff would be taken down to the Moscow Police Department where like the evidence locker room is and where Tim Smallridge is. And so the only thing I can think of is if he was over here numbering stuff based off of where they left off in the evidence that they're putting in with Moscow Police Department. That's the only thing that I could possibly give him like any, like that's what I would be saying at least. But hot damn. You know, noise complaints is what they are used to, not this. Okay, so just so everybody understands, these are not in any chronological order. They're clearly not. But I wanted to show you that though, when you see those type of place cards right there, we are dealing with day one. Now, when you see here, you see how the over here to the right, that number 37 is in yellow. Without a doubt, this, okay, is not on day 11-13, but we're looking at 11-17, 11-16 potentially, but and you have to be really careful with a lot of this stuff, because if you don't go in the correct order, for me to just to show this to Scott, when they were moving stuff, they completely moved stuff out of the rooms and they were moving stuff around all on day one. And if you're not going in order, there's going to be times where stuff is getting transferred because you're moving objects that were bloody. You know, so you have to be really, really careful. And so Sutton, she never went into the house. She's the expert for the state. She never went into the house. I'm sorry, she did go into the house. I take that back. But when she went in, everything was cleaned. So she never saw what like Matthew Nodell saw when he went in, right when Ann Taylor was hired. So let's talk about this right here. How do these stains get like that? These blood stains get like that. Well, I was comparing them to the door or on the floor, and I'm trying to say, okay, was this door swung open? Like, you see on the floor there, those gravity droplets? Because very interested. And then we can't even talk about like what these look like right now, like the coloring with them, because this has been days later. And if they would have tested any one of these, they're taking their swab, okay? And when they're going through to swab any of these, because it's been, you know, you can see the yellow down. According to the defense, they are using excess of water when they're doing their swabs, okay? And it's causing, then look at this one right here. Look at how diluted this is right to the right of it. See that one? And everybody's totally getting screwed out of this unless you are doing a ton of research to read through all of these reports, which we're doing that over here. Pav's doing a great job of that. But if you don't read through these reports that are the handwritten notes of all the CSI team, then you cannot possibly go out on your channel or go anywhere and talk about any of this because you have no idea what you're talking about. Because they process this scene more than once. And the notes are from the CSI, who's ever taking the notes that day, and they are going through, and these are the bench notes. These are the ones that they're actually using their pen to paper and going in order. With when they're, it's stuff like when I arrive on scene, when this is where we're staging, we're putting everything in the downstairs right when you walk in on the first level. And so it's crazy to me because they said there was no evidence down there. I'm like, you wouldn't know if there's evidence down there because of the way that it was just overtaken immediately and used as the staging for all of this that day, the first day. And then it continued to be a staging area, as well as the bathroom on the second floor was a staging area because then they start moving the stuff from Xana's room into the second bathroom on the second level. So yeah. Anyways, when I was trying to line up those 3 dots on the floor, potentially 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the door. And I was trying to see if they looked at that and said, okay, could what you see in R be from the door? And to me, the answer is like, yeah, like look at how those are situated and then look at how these are situated, right? And it's like, okay, so how did this happen? That's what you want an expert to tell you and explain to you. Also, we start seeing the different colors, lighter, dark, like see like right here, like that's old. You could tell how many days ago this was from. See how dark that is? And yeah, I guess if you want to test that, you're going to have to put some water on your swab, right? Well, Matt Nodell was like, they're using hella excessive water. And he was just not happy with to just simply say that the diluted blood is because of, injuries to the mouth or like the nose area where it'd be mixed with like saliva. And Matthew was like, yeah, no. Especially if you're saying that Xana never left the bedroom right when she started bleeding, basically, it all stayed in that room and she didn't go past a certain point. Like that's what the state's saying. Then when you're talking about everything that's going on in the living room with all of everything that we see, for that to be diluted, Xana's blood to be diluted, how are you going to possibly say that that's mixed with saliva? Do you understand how difficult that would be to? And it's just not. It's not from an injury. Then that basically means that injury happened right there, and that it would cast off with it right then and there, not be on the clothing of the killer. And then when the killer's walking through, somehow that blood then transfers just like that, and that would be it's so diluted. It's not even funny how diluted it is. It's clearly anybody with a brain would be saying that looks like it was wiped up. Now, I believe that the beer pong table was used to put wet clothes on. I'm going to show you why I believe this. Let me go to the picture that I want. Okay. So pick 9 really quick. These are just some things I want to show you. Picture 9. All right, you see this? This is Eric Gower's vehicle. You see the lights on Eric Gower's car? Well, those are exactly what they like lined up with on the Banfield camera, body worn camera. So check. But more importantly, with this picture, this guy's car is literally cleaned, steam cleaned, literally steam cleaned. Whoever goes and gets a car wash and like steam cleans or vacuums out their own car, but doesn't run it then through the car wash. Show you another pic of the front of his car. They have the little berries on them. So that was interesting. So then we remember, to the inside of the vehicle and look at the back. Look at the whole car. Look at this. This is completely vacuumed out. Remember? Now I went and pulled Eric's Van Leuven's typed up report with Eric Gower. And at the end, what we should hear in one of the last paragraphs, we should hear Van Leuven typing up to say that Eric steamed his vehicle out, right? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. What's up, Miss Potts? Hope you're feeling well, girl. Girl, you better be feeling better. Gower said he did not go back to the girl's residence that night. When asked to provide an alibi, Gower stated that he was at home at the time of the homicides. How would he know when the homicides occurred? Anyways, Eric said that he could support. Eric said he could support him being home at the time of the homicides by providing security camera footage from around his house, showing his vehicles parked there and what time he got home. Yep. Then the next sentence we should hear is how Eric made a trip over to Indian Hills Trails. So Indian Hills Trails is not on here about him making a stop over there, nor is it Van Leuven going to say in his report that they ask him, hey, can you meet us and drive around to West Palouse to pull your car in to this, Sallyport, basically, so we can just look at your car, because there's just a ton of media around here and we just don't want to bring any attention to you. Okay, the media will see everything. Okay. Don't you know that would be in your report? Like, this is your interview with him. Nowhere in this report does he say that Eric steam cleaned his vehicle out, didn't wash the outside of it though, that he went to Indian Hills for a drop off, which is so valuable here down the road. And why this is important is, guess when Van Leuven types this up? Van Leuven types up this report on March 30th, 2023. So he should know how important it would be to mention the whole Indian Trails drop-off, Indian Hills drop-off with his Uber. Because, yeah, that is why they ever went and got the Indian Hills footage in the first place. Why would they need to go and get that if he provided, here's his... hey, I'm at home. Here's my Ring cameras. That's why they ever went and got the Indian Hills footage, was because of this man. But guess what? Van Leuven writes up this report in March 30th of 2023, and he doesn't mention that this car was steamed out and clean, but he didn't run it. He didn't clean out the outside, and that he makes a trip over to Indian Hills, and then he made prior inconsistent statements with what he's saying now, which is now he's explaining that he did go actually back to the house to pick somebody up or in that area. Never talks about the whole Dylan. Oh, I got a text from, I don't know if this is a guy or a girl, Dylan. That is nowhere to be found in this report. Okay? It's because you're a fucking liar, okay, and you're a cheater. All right? And guess what? The longer that you wait to write up a report, that's the longer that it does not get put into discovery to be turned over to the defense. Okay? That's right. But that's fine. Like, this is why, to lawyers and to cops, it's a game. And I think that it's absolutely both sides. It's ridiculous. This is not a game. These are people's lives. It's not a game. So yeah, here's your DoorDash driver They don't look at his car on the 14th when they have him there. So between the 14th and the 18th, he goes and steam cleans this vehicle out. Literally steam cleans it. This isn't like, I mean, he does the front, he does all of it. There's not a hair in there for days. Okay. Now going back over here to 1400. They check Xana's closet to see if anything could have possibly, wound up over here. Nope. But look at, there is a, I think there's a pair of shoes that's missing right there, right? Right there. So I think that they were trying to take the pictures of where the shoes are, or where they should be, and then compare to what she had in her bedroom. Okay, here we go. These are the type of questions that I have. This is where this pile is. Ethan's jacket, pants, and some shoes. And it's like he piles them perfectly. It's just total dude, typical. Look at these stellar pics. This is number 5, by the way, or is it an S? Who knows? Who would ever buy these type of stickers? I would never purchase these in a million thousand years. Is it an S? Is it a 5? Who knows? $29. Isn't that interesting? That now, was the closet door closed? Because look at this. How could nothing land over by in the closet if the look at this cast off? How would it not hit that flannel? Now remember, this is days later because we have the these yellow markers. So this is at least 11, like I think 16. So I was like, I wonder if her closet door was actually closed. Because I mean, nothing is in that closet. But if the door was wide open, interesting. Oh, wait a minute. And it's like, wait, there is no door. So there is no door. I'm like, wow. Oh, here. So this is days later again because it has that T on it, which is with the yellow T, that means this picture has to be taken. Like it's not like 11:13 here. And that's a swipe transfer. And I'm like, dude, that is totally, in my opinion, if you zoom in, let's see if we can go for, okay, yeah, there we go. I mean, that's a pattern, so it looks like it's gloves in a way, right? What would make those two type of swipes like that? But I was like, but that's so strange that there wouldn't be like just to have like two like that, you know? Yeah, I'm going to show you guys the beer pong table with the wet clothes here in a second. Let me see. Gosh. God, my throat. Sorry. Okay, picture 133. So we'll go look at that really quick. 133. All right. Back out a little. Oh, yes. Here we go. All right. This right here, when I originally saw this, so see how it's got the ruler that's black in it. So this would be like 1113, this photograph. That's why I picked it. Yeah, place card 39. Okay. I want to know what you guys think about could, to the right of the 39, could that be somebody coughing? But have you guys ever played or had a kid play soccer or softball and it was raining and they got muddy, okay? And then you go to like lay out their clothes, or even like if you were an athlete and you played and you're like, oh my God, you guys have like boats or anything, and you leave your wet clothes, okay? And they were like, had, like, I'm just saying mud, or they were all dirty, sweaty, whatever. This is the type of like aftermath you see when you like pick up something that's been wet and it like, it had to have been there though for a little bit of time. And I get it that you can also say, oh, well, something spilled on it, so that's what it did. And it's like, yeah, absolutely. But all of this is possible to the point of you can't exclude that the beer pong table was actually used in some type of like resting manner for different things. It was, people were putting stuff on there. And it's got so many different types of blood patterns and stains that, and with nothing supposedly happening in that room, then what the beer pong table should make everybody go, what the heck? How is this beer pong table like this? Yeah, perhaps the green jacket, right? When you look at that green jacket and you put it up, if it was on this beer pong table, it looks like it fits perfectly with it. It's crazy. So, also, I went back and checked out Mitch Noonan's arriving body camera because I wanted to see what the door looked like. The sliding door and how far, open or closed it was. And it's opened further than I originally thought. So you can get, you'd be able to get through that door and not touch either side based on where it was with the body worn camera. And so that people can see, I went ahead and paused it perfectly. Take a look. See that? This is Mitch Noonan's. That's the first glimpse that we get of the door. And they make it through that, very easily, which is important too when you're talking about there would be. Now, again, that's saying that this is how the door was versus Hunter Johnson coming through that way, who, if all their friends know to come back around from the back to come to the slider, I don't know. So, okay. Next. But that's at the first point that you ever see that door. It's like 6-minute mark. And that's what's her name saw, Sutton, when she went through Mitch Noonan's body worn camera. So again, these are pictures from the 13th. And it's just like, look at all the different types of everything that's going on with this table. Transfer, secondary transfer. I'm telling you, up and over to the right there, I feel like somebody's coughing and there's blood coming out of when they're coughing over here to the right of the ruler. Okay. So let me go back to now look at that. Again, this is days later when this picture is taken. And I think that she's talking about the stain and she thinks that it's diluted. And I don't think it's diluted. And Matt was like, it's not diluted. They already they swiped it. They've already swabbed the top of that. And it's like, yeah. And it was done. And then they just did the renumbering. And that's what that is. So you know how then confusing all this would be? For somebody that you would have to understand. So when that woman took all of her time to make her report, Sutton, I couldn't possibly imagine writing like a 200 or 300 page report and then coming to find out that, like, wait a second, we're all wrong with this numbering and when stuff was done. That's unbelievable. I'd be so pissed. I'd be so pissed because it would be messing up how you're envisioning when you're marking and documenting what you're seeing with this crime. It's just bizarre. Lana, did you see the new Howard Bloom article reversing his belief in the prosecution team? No, I did not. Did Howard Bloom write something up? Tiffy dude. I love this name. Great name. What is up, Kate? How you been? Allie Tally is getting people green. Allie says, so MPD equals no photos. ISP equals first pick, first day, the white and black, and then ISP does the yellow. Yeah. Well, MPD is not supposed to be doing any pictures, but they took their pictures with their cell phone. So, which actually is really important now, given the fact that you'd be able to use, like, that's what should have been given to Homegirl. Paulette, Sutton everybody should have gotten those. Miss Potts. Love you long time. Did he do it on airmail? Hey, Bella, your boy wrote another book or another article. All right, going on. Now, we want to go and jump down to, I'm starting to wonder, how people put up little curtains or whatever for their closet? Could there have been anything hanging? I feel like there's a void. I feel like that flannel shirt should have blood on it. I feel like there's a void here. You guys see where my issues lie? Is there blood on that? Because do you see right here? All this spatter here, all this cast off here. How is that not getting on this white flannel? There's still tail ends. I mean, this is days later. See? And then look at this. Do you see this to your left? Now this could be seen as, hey, looks like it's a diluted running down vertical right to the left of your. I guess like, well, did you swab these? So it's useless to you're like guessing. This is like guesswork. And that's why she was talking about all these diluted stains. And here Matt's like, no, girl, this shit was already swabbed. Jesus. And then she's like, oh, well, then I totally agree with Matt. Then they're over here agreeing. And then this is just so bizarre to me. It's like somebody potentially was wiping this off or something, and then they just didn't get these two, because I swear we're not ET. We don't just have two fingers. Like, where's the thumb? It's just a really weird. I want someone to explain that to me. What position was the garbage can in? Wasn't it down and over? And so, like, those are. I think this is the killer's. That's way bigger than a girl's fingers. Like, that's a pattern. That's gloves, swipe. But look at right in between the swiping transfer there. That's a pattern. Looks like it's gloves. But look at how. Whoop, what's that? Oh, let's take a look. Howard Bloom. We have a break in the action. Howard Bloom. Let's see. Howard Bloom, Daily Mail. On Tuesday, Idaho State briefly released before removed a. So let's see. This was the night. Okay, great. The pictures show blood-streaked walls and blood-soaked bed sheets, overturned furniture, and gory handprints, all amid red drink cups, discarded clothing, and the disarray of college life. All right. Police have taken down the photos in the face of public. Okay, great. But now they say they'll soon reissue them after reviewing general concerns. I, like countless others, was shocked by but the grisly evidence also gives away something else no less disturbing. I began reporting on the case in the days immediately after the killings. In the months that followed, I spent weeks in Idaho reviewing thousands of pages of law enforcement reports, interviewed numerous officials, and even visited the small Pennsylvania town where Culber was born and raised. Well, if he's saying in the months that followed, I spent weeks in Idaho reviewing thousands of pages of law enforcement reports, how did you have the law enforcement reports in the weeks and days? Like, we didn't have any of that, Howard. That wasn't public. It was all sealed. How were you reviewing pages of law enforcement reports? Interviewed numerous officials and even visited. How did you do that? So you're admitting to the leak? And he's like, no, I did all of this in the days immediately after the killings, Lana. So there was no gag order then. And the police were just supplying me with whatever I wanted to see. Oh, awesome. While I believe Brian Culber is guilty, he says, I have never been able to shake a long-held hypothesis that he didn't act alone. Exactly, Howard. Because one that would actually see this crime scene would never be able to say that he acted alone unless he had so much time in that house. Okay? Because you would need time to clean up all of the stuff that's missing, the void. He says, well, I believe Brian Culber is guilty. I have never been able to shake a long-held hypothesis that he didn't act alone. Now, this newly released evidence only bolsters that belief. Oh, Howard, yeah. Come on to the dark side. At the heart of the prosecution of Culber is a troubling question. Could he have managed to murder 4 students on 2 different floors during the estimated 13-minute time frame? You guys, in that 13-minute time frame was from the PCA. But what Gilbertson wrote in a report is that they went ahead and did a trial run through on November 21st, and they put it in black and white that this could have happened within 1 minute and 36 seconds to 3 minutes. And I'm like, I'm like, come on, man. But guess why they had to do that? Because the Dylan text messages with Bethany completely blow up the state's theory. And that's why Ann Taylor is saying, when you take everything in totality, you then start to realize that those text messages are not in concert with what is happening at that moment. So, and I believe that. The authorities in Moscow suspect that Kolber entered the residence at 4:07 a.m. shortly after his car was captured on surveillance camera during driving toward the location, and left the scene at 4:20 a.m. And see, I don't believe that the 4:20 a.m. car is the 4:07 car, because enter in Eric Gower's interview. Eric Gower's interview has a silver car that's parked where it has no business being parked. And at first we thought that that was the Fusion. But guess what? You have more than one undercover car. They have a fleet. So what car was that? Because whatever car was there parked off being silver, I think arrived before noon or before midnight, what we're able to see. And could that then be the 420 car that's fleeing? Absolutely. So the authorities in Moscow suspect that, again, Kolber arrived at 4:07, left at 4:20 in 42 seconds. They've even performed 2 test runs reenacting the murders as best they could to establish a working theory for how this could be done. But everybody needs to know that you only needed to do that because of Dylan and Bethany's text messages. Howard Bloom says, but I've never been convinced. For starters, he says, I suspect the 13-minute time frame to be wrong. Woohoo, Howard. There we go. Let me get my bell, Howard. Shit. I believe that you are absolutely correct, Howard. That is wrong. Howard Bloom coming with the hits there. He says, I believe that to be wrong. He says, it does not take into consideration the time that would have elapsed after Kolber exited King Road after the murders, trudged up an icy slope to his car, presumably changed out of his clothes, possibly stored bloody items in a plastic bag in his trunk, started his car. Well, we basically have proven over here that we believe that the car that's leaving at 4:20 in 42 seconds was already started and the car was already running, and it was back behind the house based on the car lights, the headlights. Mark B, if you're in here, woo woo. So he's saying that bloody items in a plastic bag in his trunk, started his car, proceeded down the hill, and drove away. All of that activity would have reduced his actual time inside the residence by several minutes. My timeline, says Howard Bloom, my timeline suggests all 4 assaults were committed in 9 minutes, more or less. What? He's saying that, and I'm over here like, did you not read Gilbertson's report? Gilbertson is saying that this took 3 minutes. He said, I'll concede that a 9-minute window might have been sufficient to kill 4 people, but likely only if the killer moved methodically from one victim to the next, making no mistakes, wasting no time. These newly released crime scene photos, in conjunction with autopsy reports that I've reviewed, suggest this killer or killers was anything but methodical. Exactly. This was a rageful massacre, and I completely agree. This person or people raging. That house was a battlefield, he says. Xana was stabbed over 50 times, and many of these were defensive wounds. She fought for her life. She absolutely did. Kaylee was stabbed more than 20 times, way more than 20 times. Kaylee was stabbed over 25 times in her face that they couldn't tell anymore, so that's where they had to stop. None of which were in the back. Laying in a bed, not stabbed anywhere, like torso, nothing from like the back. Neither from Addie. So Kaylee too, she too resisted her assailant. And his response, was ferocious. There is evidence, yes, of asphyxiation injuries. So what are we talking about here? Meaning Kaylee was strangled and perhaps gagged. Now let's talk about it. Remember the whole Chief Fry in the press conference? The woman raises her hands and she's like, gagged and bound, that type of thing. And did you see Chief Fry when he was like, no. You know where that would come from? That's a leak. And it is true because they were the cops were the ones all talking about that Kaylee's face and everything. There was a different weapon. It was something else that was used and it had a pattern like. There was also bruising. So there was force. And it was like, well, was she gagged? So the leak and why that question was asked of that reporter was because the police. And then Lanier comes out and says, we want to put to best the rumors. Dude, any good attorney was going to handle them in a courtroom with all the crap that they were doing. These PR press conferences and these YouTube little videos. Dumbest shit I've ever seen. But so that was from, again, the defense wasn't on the part of this yet. So your leak has always been the cops and the prosecution. Always has been. Now, and there was also blunt force trauma injuries. Her nose had been broken and her face beaten beyond recognition. Madison was stabbed multiple times. The exact count has not been released. Ethan was stabbed multiple times. Again, the precise number is not known. In total, though, I conservatively estimate well over 100 separate knife thrusts, and there very well might have been another weapon. Hell yes, there was another weapon. 1,000. And you want to know what tells me even more so is that we've yet to see an expert report come forward and they're not going to be writing in any report about commenting on the weapon because it cannot be like, that's the report I'm waiting for, is where somebody's going to talk about the autopsy and the wounds and to talk about what kind of weapon this could have been. State prosecutor Bill Thompson, in an interview after Colbert's sentencing, he said that, in quotes, there were injuries that appeared to have been caused by something other than the knife, although it could have been the knife. I love Howard. He's like, what kind of statement is that? I don't think we can exclude the possibility that there was or were an additional weapon involved. Oh my God. And what about the DNA found on the knife sheath, also depicted in the new photos, left on the bed next to the body of Maddie Mogen? ? There was a speck of touch DNA belonging to Colbert on the button snap. But guess what? That's not where it was. Everyone keeps saying that. You guys, this touch DNA, this speck of touch DNA belonging to Colbert on the button snap, that's not where it was. That was the unshakable touchstone of the state's case. But investigators also found something else. Another DNA report recently released by Idaho authorities indicating that there was another male's DNA present on the knife sheath. I know, Howard. Thank you so much for finally writing this, because nobody will talk about it. Nobody. Come on, talk about this. Now, again, Howard says, another DNA report recently released by Idaho authorities indicate that there was another male's DNA present on the knife sheath. There was. And tests determined it did not belong to victim Ethan Chapin or several other men who had frequented the house. Absolutely. Whose DNA was it? Well, Idaho they don't care. They don't give a shit. Prosecutor Thompson admitted to the court on the day of Colbert's sentencing that no evidence exists tying the criminology graduate student, to any of the victims before the day of the killings. There's no proof that he'd ever spoken to any of them or even followed them on social media. All that can be definitively state is that a knife sheath with Kohlberger's DNA was found at the scene. The prosecution argued that Kohlberger, intent on murder, randomly picked a house at 4 a.m, but it's not enough to put all my suspicions to rest, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't. This case should have never been able to be pled out. You know, Hitler, you want to talk about somebody being able to file a habeas down the road? It's this case. All the lies. They had no probable cause. They lied. They made up their probable cause to arrest somebody. That's what I have a problem in, and then believing in this evidence. And then when you actually see the crime scene, we're all like, what? What went on in that living room? Dylan would be dead. Dylan would be dead. In fact, the defense's expert says that you are eliminating any witnesses. Okay. Dylan opening and closing the door 3 times. Yeah, sure. Sure thing. I was told early on, way back before there was ever an arrest, that Dylan was a confidential informant for the FBI from a very reliable source when her days in Boise because of her boyfriend. So there's that. I put it out there. Go ahead, quote me. I'm just so sick and tired of this. This is crazy. Now, it would have been very risky business for Kohlberger, a high-achieving scholar who had pored over crime scenes and police investigations, to settle on such a target without any foreknowledge. And then now the Cellbrite people are trying to say that Brian Kohlberger was using the computer that was found in his apartment the month leading up to the murders, but he had done such a really good job, like, getting rid of whatever he was looking at. Nobody even knew that Brian Kohlberger had that computer. Why wouldn't he pack that piece of shit, old ass computer, and toss it the fuck away? Okay. There were 5 cars parked around 1122 King Road that night, suggesting many people inside, perhaps too many to be dealt with. Yeah, in a car that if you were stalking the place, whose is this Range Rover? I've always said that. The Range Rover would throw anybody for a loop with new tags or like temporary tags. Entering 1122 King Road without a specific mission fixed in his mind would be the height of recklessness. Yeah, sure would. But Kohlberger is calculating, he is calculating, right? My theory, says Howard, is that there was indeed a clear motive. It just wasn't Kohlberger's own. Kohlberger, in my opinion, likely had hooked up with someone who, for whatever reason, hellish reasons, wanted at least one of the students dead. Oh my God. Howard Bloom says that Kohlberger, in my opinion, likely had hooked up with someone, not like sexually, but like crossed paths with someone, for whatever hellish reasons, wanted at least one of the students dead. Oh my God. What, Howard? Jesus. Eager to win over a new friendship and apply his morbid book knowledge, Kohlberger, I believe, tagged along. Oh my God. Howard. Oh my God. He just tagged along. Finally, there is one last piece of unexplained evidence that has always weighed on my mind. On the night of Kohlberger's apprehension at his parents' home in Pennsylvania, he was led in handcuffs to the back of a police vehicle. Before the car drove off to the police barracks, he reportedly asked a single question: was anyone else arrested? Well, that's the thing, is that he didn't, Howard. At the time, his concern was attributed to the worries of a son and sibling, anxious to know if any of his family had been taken in from their home, blah, blah, blah. When illuminated by the fresh light of the newly released evidence, a more question surfaces. Is there another King Road killer still out there? Oh, thank you so much, Howard. I don't necessarily Howard, Occam's razor, man. Occam's razor. Hold on one second here. Give me a second. Okie dokie. Back at it. Okay. Woo, that's all that Howard wrote then. And then there's just a bunch of comments. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I agree with that as well. There, Ava, her lungs filled with fluid, which, yep, 1000%. Let's see. All right. Back over here. Let's get looking at again, so stuff has been moved. How do we know this? Because that yellow tape, the pink little thumb tab. I just want to know where the laptop truly was. All right. I'm going to go to, I think it's 2000. I want to go and show the just go like this, 2300. $2,500. I need to get us downstairs. Okay. Here we go. Open up the door. Remember, they staged all right here. They just started plopping stuff down. And finally, here it is. Like, we're going to be able to look at the spare bedroom. Okay. So there's leaves and shit in there. Look at, again, don't know when this was taken, but there's a leaf. More little vegetation, soil, debris. A suitcase, nothing in it. All these leaves. You guys remember the front door was left open according to Justin. He's like, that front door was just wide open. I'm starting to believe it because when the cops came in, all of this was like this, the leaves were all in there already. Okay. Now, let's go to. I mean, how do these get, if no one's using this room, how do these beer cans get in here like that? Anybody? Anybody? All right. A McDonald's cup. And I was like, oh my God, it's one of those standing when you like are at your desk. You can have like, all right, so here we go. You can have like a standing treadmill. All right. So now based off of the um like the interviews, okay? This was supposedly, oh, whose stuff is down in that room? Oh, it's like a work area. They're using this as a work area. Well, who was? Kaylee, Maddie. So Kaylee and Maddie were using this as a work area. Okay. Well, let's see what we can. I'd be pissed as fuck. Who puts all of these liquid material all around? Like, that is the last thing you would ever want to do. There's no way I'm putting this shit next to my keyboards. But whatever. Now, where is this? So there's the front, there's the window. This desk has to be newer. I want to go back and look at the body worn cameras from us looking into this room. And I think this desk kind of like goes over the window. So when you'd be like peeking in through, I want to know how this wouldn't have been seen, that desk. Anyways. We're looking for this Sensi light. There's a broken Sensi light. What? All right. Infamous golf clubs here. Ping bag. At least $200 for that ping bag. Now the G400 ping, when it was bought in its prime, is at least a $500 driver. Now you need 15 clubs if you're having a good set. This has a putter. Does it even have a putter in there? Yeah. This is not what the Chapins would be referring to as they have Ethan's good set, unless he had one in his vehicle. But this is like a extra driver, it looks like, putter, and then 1 or 2 irons, and then I cannot tell what that looks like. See, are those? I think it's a wood that's outside the bag. Anyways, that's a you would never go and play. Ethan would have never played golf with that bag. Okay. This would be like, did I make this bag for Xana so she had like a driver, a putter, and then a couple irons, like a 5 and a 7, 5, 7, 9, driver, putter. Here you go. This is what Xana plays with. But then we get to this infamous jacket right here, this pink and flowery whatever jacket. And this is what Matt was like, what the hell? There's like a tub right there. And so what is that? Is that a steamer? I just can't. If you're using this as an office, you would just tell people to stay the fuck out of this room. At least that's what I would be telling people. Hold on, let's get, okay. So this is number 1. They're like, we want this charging pack. Okay. Why? Sounds good. Again, we don't know when this picture was taken to say if there's sheets on there or not. And then I was like, wait a second, look at this. There's another. I was like, look at this. What the hell? What is that? Wouldn't you like test that? Was it tested? You don't know what that is. Look at. Nothing to see here. We're about to get to this. This is where that girl was offered to sleep in this bed, but she's like, but the bed's not comfortable. I completely disagree. That is a. I mean, what kind of. Yeah, but it's just not a comfortable bed. Here we go. So I was like, is this even set up? Like, what you would use this for is to like work out, and you have like a workout, like But I was like, this monitor. I was like, somebody set up. This is a desk nook. It's like a table topper to pop up for the purposes of doing exactly what you're doing here, which is working out, like walking on a treadmill while I don't know, watching something like working. Is this what they're saying? Is this Sensi light? Shut the fuck up. This is so dumb. That's that's what was broken. There's a Sensi light that's broken in there. What? Like, there it is. Oh, there's that jacket. Come on, pull it out. Let's take a look at it. That's so random. So fucking random. Just a shoe. Okay. Let's get to that Jackie. Yeah. That bag is 200. What's a hover? So that's there's some docks. whose tote is this? How does this can get in there? This is just bizarre. Right? 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 Yeah. Black jeans. One jean. Trulies for the win. Trulies for the win. Hey, you can totally sleep at our house. You can totally just take the downstairs bed that has no sheets on it. You know, you can just totally sleep downstairs. You don't have to leave. What? No law with the claw. Someone just like, oh, spilling all over. Open up these drawers. Interesting. Crazy. Crazy. So who's working with nothing in this? No pens. There's no nothing. Get the fuck up out of here. This would be nobody works down here with no pens, no paper. Who's working down here? Who is working in this environment? Where's my green jacket? You guys see that though? This is how your desk is when you work? Just nothing. And what type of work are we talking about here? Knows you got two monitors in this room. That's what it shows me is that you got two monitors in this room. It looks like a cam room. I don't know. And then we get to go over here to Bethany's room. Bethany's room. I mean, look at her drawers. They're like falling off the hinges. Right? Okay, so there's that big speaker from the August visit with a noise complaint. As you can see, this is like not on the first trip here because they already have the evidence tape up. So we can go ahead and say, all right, well, what the hell? Like, screw this. Now, look at that. You know what that is? Was that. Like, they should check that for blood. That just came off somehow. How did that just fall off? Remember, Dylan over here, we looked out the when I got down to Bethany's room, we were looking out the window. Or at least she was. Okay, you see in this room, see how it has the curtains, like how I was saying, would anybody have like anything up in Xana's room to protect like the closet? And seeing how she has it, it'd be like I could see Xana then being like, yeah, I need that for my room, you know? But let's see if you can find any Doc Martens in this room. Ready? All these girls have Doc Martens. Katie's are accounted for. Maddie's are accounted for. Who's the ones that are upstairs, right? Well, I don't see Bethany's anywhere. Also, I was trying to look for Bethany's iPad that she watched Baby Daddy on. Okay. There's her Fire Stick. See, now this I can show is like that's the day, like 11/13. They get her Fire Stick. Get back in there. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that. I wonder if those are media people. Look at that white car just chilling back there. Okay. Again, I have no idea. I've never seen somebody just be like, I'm going to Costco and I'm buying 50 bottles of ibuprofen, man. Trust me, I get it. College life, you gotta. So she has a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey as well, because I know Xana does, or is that Xana's? Trader Joe's. Okay. Again, we just don't know when this picture was taken. But all I can tell you is that I'm looking for outlets and where you would have had like right there if you're running your to be able to plug your phone in. Here we go. Bra. Like, where did Dylan plug her phone in? Because it was dying. So when she would have run downstairs, she has to plug it in. And then if she never left that room, her charger should be in this room. Where's her charger? There's Bethany's. Okay. And so that would mean that Dylan has to be like that little light thing is plugged into the wall. Like, where is the charger that Dylan would have had to bring down to keep her phone working that night and into the morning all the way to noon? Yeah. Everybody can just kiss my ass. Because if you guys are going to sit here and try to tell me that Dylan was like, oh my God, I got to grab my cell phone charger as I run out the house, then I would be like, you the fool, not me. Dylan's charger should be in this room, and I just don't see it. I see Bethany's right here, which should be like right by the bed. But again, I would just need to see the first couple pictures to make sure that this is like the day. But there's just nowhere for it to be plugged in unless you'd have to have a long cord. And if you're going to try to use this part of this extension cord over here and run it to where you're at in this bed, because now she'd have to be sleeping on the inside. Bethany is sleeping on the outside because her charger's right. Like, you're going to sleep. You're not going to cross over the person's body. So it's like, here, sleep on the inside. Yeah, where's Dylan's charger? What's this? Where's her Doc Martens? Let's see. So, all right. I want to have the discussion. Ready? The Doc Martens, I believe, belong to Bethany. So, what do you guys think about that? Bethany. Doc Martens upstairs. Bethany. So why is Dylan saying that she believes that it would have been Kaylee with the Doc Martens, knowing that Kaylee had white, like, Ked-like shoes on? Okay. So, wow. Woo-hoo. Whose docs are those? Because according to Dylan's story here, oh, look at, they broke. Interesting. According to Dylan's story here, Dylan's running, or Kaylee's running up the stairs to go to bed, and she's in her doc. So I heard that, like, and it's like, wait, what? Kaylee didn't have Doc Martens on. Why is she putting Kaylee in Doc Martens? Like, cray. I love that hat. That's a sweet hat. What is that? Nice little lighty. Wow. Well, again, we just don't know when these pictures were taken. Hmm. Oh, Taco Bell. Slippers, chips. God, what these Kodak pick. Slippers. Just wine bottles everywhere. The college life, man. I would expect her flat iron to be over here, but that just tells you that there's nowhere to plug it in. So she has to have it over by where the TV is. What was she wearing in the iconic picture? You know, where's her jeans? That would be just like after she got done, being out and about, like where's her jeans? Let's go back to that hamper. Okay. What was she wearing in the porch picture? Let's go back and look at Bethany. Where's her laptop? Where's any pictures of them collecting um let's see. All right. So I have her. She's in a cropped cutoff. She has these jeans on and she's wearing the white Nikes. All right. So where's the cropped? Oh my God. The inside out. I want to go back and look at the shirt that's rolled up in Beth or in Dylan's room. Okay, where is this gray cutoff? All right, hold on. Where are the jeans? The white shoes are in the middle of the room. Where are these jeans? It's that there's a Doc Martin right there. Is there one that's to the right of that? Are those Dylan's Doc Martens? Right there. Boom. We have Bethany's Doc Martens accounted for. Oh, damn. Where's Dylan's Docs? Whose Doc Martens are these? Oh, hot damn. Now, where are her jeans? Where's her laptop? Where's her iPad? These are the shoes she was wearing that day. Those white ones, the white Nikes. She was wearing the white Nikes. Kaylee was wearing her white Nikes. Ethan was wearing his white Nikes with a black jacket. Interesting. The Steelers jersey. She has a gray, but she cut the gray sweatshirt that's like a crew top. She cut the bottom of it with her jeans that are frayed with a hole in the one leg. All right, we're on the hunt to find these jeans. Just photo hunt, bitches. Let's go. Look at that. Just that room is like nothing in that closet is out of place, but the bench. Usually our closets that look like absolute disarray, you know, like, oof. Oh, that's it. Okay, hold on. We're going to go back now. We're going to go back to the beginning of Bethany's room. Where are these fucking jeans? Oh, wow. Maybe that. What's that? Okay, blue backs. Hold on. Hang on. I can't tell. This has to be it. Lana in the bed. What's in the bed? I don't know. Those could possibly be jeans in the bed. I don't know. Those could possibly be jeans in the bed, but I don't think they slept. I don't think they slept here. I don't think that they were here. I think they would be dead. This is my take. I would expect these jeans to be on the floor. Okay. The hamper. They're not in the hamper. I'm very interested in that Steelers jersey. Jeez. Then maybe we miss it when we first walked in here. Okay. All I need to know is what is this shit? If this is from when they first walked in, because that's where the chair was originally, and how I know that is because of this picture. The fire stick's still in there. Do you see where that chair is like that? That means this was taken day one. And then here's where they get the place card. See? And see how the Trader Joe's bag is upright? Okay. The Trader Joe's bag is not upright. So you see the shoe is like that. So look at, I said this. I said, this is why I wanted those pictures in the first place. I said, if all of this shit was on her bed, who the fuck slept there? This is how it was when they first walked in. How would this be that anybody slept in this bed? Do you guys see that? So please explain that to me. I think that this is one of the first pictures of when they walked in. Damn. What do you guys think? Fucking wild shit, man. This is wild as hell. Right here. Look at that. This is what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Okay, wait. Hang tight. Right there. Doc Martens. Dylan, what did you do, girl? What have you been doing, girl? See? If this is one of the first pictures. Yep. Trader Joe's bags up. Look at all that shit in the bed. Get the fuck up out of here. Right here. This is it. Boom. Everybody sit down. I said I didn't want any of the other rooms. I said all I wanted was this room and Dylan's room and the spare bedroom. And I would be able to tell. I wanted to know if they slept. And the first thing I was looking for was Dylan's charger to be in this Bethany's bedroom, because her phone wouldn't have made it through the entire night if it wasn't being charged. She would have never been able to be texting all the way until noon. Okay. So she needed to bring down a charger with her. So there should be a charger in this bedroom other than Bethany's. And there's not. There's just not. Bethany's is the only charger. So me too. I would have picked the other room because I wouldn't want to hear all the walking and stuff like that. And remember, Bethany calls Dylan first to wake her up basically and alert her to all of this. It's Bethany's phone that calls Dylan's phone. All right. I'm going to keep this right about an hour and 30 minutes since I wasn't live yesterday like I wanted to be all day. Today's the marathon that we get. I was helping people with their the long day yesterday. Read that Dylan owned a K-bar and had photos on Instagram. Is this true? Nope. I have never seen that. Allie Tally says, been bugging me since the live on the WSU suit. Kaylee's name specifically added into their mention of here to help you. That actually came from Noonan's put that in his actual search warrant because he misunderstood Dylan. And you guys can listen to that on the interview that he does with on the first body worn camera, and only one for Noonan's. As a former soldier, we use chainmail gloves, steel mesh gloves with protection with cutting. Interesting. Thank you, Hadi JG. Appreciate that. Murky, Blum's new release, January 24, 2026, of The Eyes of a Killer, Part 6. Oh. Yes, someone else could be walking free. The shoe print by DM's door matches her Vans. Definitely not the killer shoes. I'll tell you that. We're going to be breaking down a ton more. Again, I'll bring everybody along with me while I'm sitting here doing some deep diving with the written notes from ISP. But this is how anybody can just look at this and say that anybody slept in Dylan's bed or anybody slept in this bed. Well, Dylan's like, I didn't sleep. I came back down here. Okay, sweet. Well, this bed. How did you sleep in this bed? There's shit all over it. And they never came back in here before any of these pictures would have been taken. So these are the best pictures to show you accurately what they walked out of the house. Like, this is what it was. And so unless you're going to say, well, yeah, I mean, I got up and I started looking for stuff. And, so Dylan got up out of the bed and I started looking for what? Because I needed, because when they said, get out of the house, I had to find my jacket. I had to find this. So I'm looking all over for my clothes. I mean, sure, you can say whatever the fuck you want. Where's Dylan's goddamn charger? Okay. You show me where Dylan's charger is in that room. That's all I want to see. Where is Dylan's charger? Nobody leaves in this day and age. Your charger is just like your cell phone, period. And people can say, well, she forgot it, but then she just started using Bethany's. Okay, sounds good. Where is it in her room? Not there either. Where's her charger from her room? Where is Dylan's fucking charger? Dylan's charger. The other thing is that guess what's amazing about our phones? It'll tell us when she was plugging stuff in and out and when they were taking stuff in and out from if they actually did a sick ass dive into these phones, which they did. And spoiler alert, a source has stated that Dylan and Bethany did not sleep that night. So get ready for it, guys. It is coming. It is coming. Dylan and Bethany did not sleep that night at all. Wild. Okay. See you on the next one. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. You guys rock. At all. There's no sleeping. None. Jamie Cook, thank you so much. Thank you to all of you guys. Thank you, moderators. You guys are the best. Catch you on the flip side.